with Akademiks and check it out. Now, let me let all y'all know, all right, man? Paak is the GOAT. To me, Paak overall is the GOAT. I ain't just talking about who can rap best. I'm talking about the greatest hip-hop artist of all time. To me, it's Paak, okay? All these other niggas pale in comparison to Paak. Paak lived and embodied and transcended hip-hop, all right? Now, when Paak actually died, I was only a couple years on the earth. I mean, to be honest, man, you got to understand that I never lived when Paak was really doing his thing. And, of course, Paak died at 25, but it's okay. Now, here's the thing. The reason why I like Paak is I've gone back and researched that time, and I've looked into the artists and the music that was relevant and the other social stuff that contributed to the music. And I said, damn, that was a special time. And Paak and him being so unique, outspoken, so brilliant, so talented, it made me realize that Paak is the GOAT. Now, that's just me. Some people, they're not into that. Some people not into going back, learning about those type of guys, or even going back beyond the time they live in. Okay? To each his own. Okay? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people were bent out of shape. I'm looking at the comments from my last video I posted about Lil Yachty, where Lil Yachty said in Billboard, he said, I don't know five Paak or big songs. Okay? A lot of people were bent out of shape. How dare this nigga? Now, to me, man, I had no problem with what Lil Yachty said. Let me tell you this. I'd probably have more of an issue if he said his music was inspired by Paak. Because Paak actually, Paak is on a different level. So I'm glad listen, him saying he don't know Paak or Big, I'm cool with that. Okay? If he said, no, listen, my music is the next Paak, that's when I get mad. Okay? Now, Lil Yachty said like he didn't know that many Paak songs. So many people are bent out of shape. They're pissed off. And again, you got to realize some of these people were born after Paak died. Again, not everybody's a student of the game. A lot of people, their first love wasn't hip-hop. A lot of times we as fans, and we allow rappers to come in the game without true appreciation for the culture because they come in just for a money-grabbing hustle. We let it happen. So when I see people trying to get mad at Yachty for him not being all up on the culture and being a true student of the game like some of the greats have been, I look at them as hypocrites, okay? Some of them just don't like Yachty. Now, this is where we get to, because of course, people were going to disagree with Yachty, and people were going to be mad at Yachty for saying that. But one of the people who were actually mad at him is a guy who was also on the XXL freshman cover with him this year, Anderson Paak, okay? Anderson Paak said this. He says, don't be cocky in the fact that you don't know anything about hip-hop history. Real artists are students of the game first. Now, Lil Yachty actually responded with a think emoji, and he says, you know what? And he continued by saying, I think it's funny how people feel like you have to like something just because everybody else does, or I have to know something. We're in the handbook of hip-hop. Does it say you must know the list of songs to make music? Laughing my ass off. I'm sorry to say, but I agree with both of these guys. All right? I think if you are trying to be someone who wants to progress the culture of hip-hop, you do got to know the past. I know the past, okay? And I'm not going to say I know the entire past because, listen, when it gets to the 80s, I can't really pinpoint specific incidents. That's before my mom and my daddy, man. I don't know about that stuff, okay? However, when it comes to, like, at least big historic hip-hop events and at least historic rappers and legendary rappers, of course I got to do my research, and of course I got to be well-versed in those type of things, but I understand somebody else not being that. So I agree with Anderson Paak that, like, if you really love this culture, you should invest some time into knowing these things. You should put that effort in to know these guys who paved the way for you. But here's where I agree with Yachty as well. Yachty, he really just doesn't... Listen, he's a guy who just started making something that's called mumble rap, and he basically stumbled into a position, and we can't crucify him because he doesn't share the same hip-hop knowledge or the hip-hop sentiment that Paak is the GOAT, or Biggie's the GOAT, or he knows a million Biggie songs. Again, that was before his time. Now, what I will say, I think Yachty instead of being so dismissive, he should be like, hey, listen, it's clear I grew up in a different time, different era. We never paid attention to Pac and Big, okay? But no disrespect to the legends, because of course, people like Pac and Big, when you hear their names, slander should not be associated with those names. It gets people pissed the fuck off, and for right reason. So when you hear somebody so dismissive, it comes across as almost disrespectful. And that's all that Yachty, there's nothing wrong with what Yachty's saying. If the nigga really did not grow up on listening to Big and Pac, or he doesn't know 5 songs from Big and Pac, you can't crucify the nigga. But if he seems hella dismissive, like he's on some shit like, fuck if they're legends, I'm on now and I'm doing me, that's of course going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. Again, I think he doesn't have ill intentions, but the way it comes across on tweets, when he's like LMAO, and he seems like he's laughing at the whole situation, and he maybe it's even taken out of context in a Billboard interview where he says, I don't need to know all that shit. Listen, I didn't need to know all that shit to make all this money. Of course people are going to get mad. Okay? So I don't want to say either of these guys are right. I think they both have a point. Okay? And it further starts up and continues the discussion. But I think it continues to lead back to discussion where some people believe these newer artists that do mumble rap, they have no appreciation for the culture and just no appreciation for the art. Get in the comment box, make sure you guys like, definitely subscribe. I want to hear what you guys got to say about this. I'm out.